Welcome to Alpha Online Education. So it is unit number 8. So all second year students must purchase materials in Jagan bookstore. The VGS series is available in the bookstore. Please every student of second year please purchase that. You know about the series of that in your previous year. So the way of pattern is in easy of that. The VGS series you purchase, every student must purchase the series of that. So the way of that, you know about the series of that. Oh, I do not explain about to you that series. Please you purchase that. So the material is available in Jagan bookstore. Okay. So here it is the unit number 8. So the contemporary issues in India. So I completion the coalition politics. So now present the coalition politics narrates important role. It is the government of NDA. Some small parties are support to in the alliance of NDA, National Democratic Alliance, United Republic Alliances. So here the topic is corruption and anti-corruption and terrorism and anti-terrorism. So the corruption. So nowadays the corruption, you know about the corruption of our side. So the majority, so not only official corruption in our side, the political corruption is in the side of our. So nowadays the corruption narrates important role. So you know about what the way of corruption, you know about total corruption. So nowadays the government do not control the corruption. So when the government is control the corruption, at the time all programs of government is easy to the people. So now present the government do not control the corruption. When the government is control the corruption, at the time the government is in not to the side of corruption. So now present every department. So especially the department of certain. So I do not explain the department of that. So the corruption narrates important role nowadays. Chala kilaka bhumikanu poshistundi. So if the corruption side, so the government and not only government employees, so the politicians also corruptionists. So at the time the corruption is in very danger of our side. So the government establishing the anti-corruption bureaus, the ACB, Anti-Corruption Bureau, ACB, it is fight against the corruption. When the people give their support to ACB, at the time the corruption is in gone. So now the people do not support to the ACB. So their work is important. They give some money to consult department and they come the department of those who complete his work. So first he give more priority to his work. So the way of that is not correct. So every citizen of India fight against the corruption. So that is the one of the fundamental of you. If you do not fight against the corruption, so the country do not move fastly. The country do not move fastly. So that is the one of the aim of every citizen. So what he says, I fight against the corruption. So now present in our side, the government hospitals, what the government of India, the government of Telangana give more priority to the Department of Health. So what the position in that now present? Recently in all papers, So the government hospital, the people irritated the sector of that. So reason of the corruption is in the side of that. So the agendas also collect ransom. So the corruption, it is the one of the dangerous crime. So no one can stop that. If anyone stop the corruption, at the time the country of India, the state of Telangana moves so healthy. So the anti-corruption bureaus is in the side of ours, the ACB. So they fight against the corruption. So the officers is there. Their role is very important role at the abolition of corruption. At the time, the people give their support to anti-corruption bureau. So recently, some departments. So if they do not take any money to consumer, at the time no corruption. So they take money to he, at the time the corruption. So it is the one of the rapid. It is the one of the rapid one. So the politicians side corruptions, the officials are also they joins in corruption. At the time the people are all suffer. So the people always give their support to ACB. Okay, so the ACB is fighting against the corruption. So all people give their support to anti-corruption bureau. At the time the corruption is not more seriously. Yes, the victory bloggers. So actually these are all fighting against the corruption. Okay, so it is the one of the small topic of you. Actually it is the one of the dangerous one. So you know about the present situation of corruption. Okay, you know total. So what the corruption, what the way of corruption now present. So some departments do not control that. So who's control that? When the people are educated, at the time they control that. If the people are not educated, they do not control. When they ask question to official, at the time the official is afraid. So the person do not ask. So the official way is separate. Okay? So this is the corruption and anti-corruption. And next the terrorism and anti-terrorism. So now present the terrorism. It is the one of the danger one. You know about the terrorism. Terrorism, anti-terrorism. Terrorism. So now present terrorists narrates actually the terrorism. When the terrorism abolished, at the time the country is in safe time. So ethno-nationalist terrorism and then the religious terrorism, left-wing terrorism, cross-border terrorism, environmental or sandalwood terrorism, cyber terrorism, suicide terrorism. So these are all the types of terrorism. Ethno-nationalist terrorism, ethno-nationalist terrorism. అంటే యాక్చువల్గా కంట్రీలో ఉండి దే గివ్ దెమ్ సపోర్ట్ టు టెర్రరిస్ట్స్. సో హూ ఈస్ టెర్రరిస్ట్? సో యాక్చువల్లీ just like he is one of the psycho. So his way is way. He do not think any other's way. His way is way. Just like once upon a time in our Tamil Elam, LTTE, Prabhakar, Liberation Tiger of Tamil Elam, is one of the danger terrorist. So now present he is not in our side. So once upon a time, Bin Laden, So what the aim of those ante they fight ante they create their own soldiers. Who are they? So now present the unemployment people. So that government do not give their support to those fellows. So some birth big. So he do not smooth kind. At the time he joins that I will fight against the government, I will fight against the people. His way is way. అంటే దేశంలో ఉండి దేశానికి ప్రమాదం తెచ్చేవాడిని ఎథ్నో నేషనలిస్ట్ టెర్రరిజం. ఈ దేశంలో ఉంటారు, దే డు నాట్ సపోర్ట్ అవర్స్, ఓన్లీ దే సపోర్ట్ టు టెర్రరిస్ట్. సో హీ ఈస్ టెర్రరిస్ట్ అంటే ద వే ఆఫ్ హీ ఈస్ సపరేట్. So always he wants violence. Always he wants violence. Nowadays, not only our India. So the country of Pakistan suffered terrorism. The country of Afghanistan suffered terrorism. So these countries all are India also suffer about the terrorism. So now the second one is religious terrorism. మతపరమైనటువంటి టెర్రరిజం. సో నౌ ప్రెజెంట్ అవర్ స్మైల్. సో ద గవర్నమెంట్స్ ఆఫ్ ఆల్ ఆర్ కంట్రోల్ దీస్ టెర్రరిజం. సో నౌ ప్రెజెంట్ అవర్ ఇండియా ఇస్ ద కంట్రీ ఆఫ్ సెక్యులర్. సో ద టెర్రరిస్ట్ వన్స్ అపాయింటెడ్ ఇండియా inside big terrorists. So now present the terrorism is not strong. The government take more activities. The defense, the Ministry of Defense is strong. So now the religious terrorism, mataparamainatvanti terrorism. So India is not country of secular. India is country of secular. So the government of India do not support any religion. So some people are joins in the terrorism. They fight against the other religion. So now present it is not in the side of ours. So it is the internal terrorism. It is the internal terrorism. And then the left-wing terrorism. So just like the Maoist and the Marxist, those are all the once upon a time they are in the position of strong. So they fight against the system. They do not fight against the common people. They fight against the system, they fight against the rulers. So once upon a time Naxalism. So they fight against the government, they fight against the system. So once upon a time they narrate important role in our side. So the movement of Naxalbari, it is Srikakulam in Andhra Pradesh. So in Telangana side. So now present the state of Chhattisgarh and Jharkhand, they are there. They live in that area and they fight against the system and they fight against the activities of government. So this is the left-wing terrorism. And then the cross-border terrorism. So recently our India suffered this problem. So the China attacks and also the Pakistan attacks the area of Jammu and Kashmir. So the cross-border terrorism. So the terrorists are entered and they occupy some masjids and also they occupy they support they occupy their supporters and they fight against ours. So the border security, actually they narrate important role nowadays. You know about the security of border. They always give more priority to, they protect India. So the Jai Jawan and Jai Kisan, whose slogan is that? The slogan of that is Mr. Lal Bahadur Shastri. What the slogan of the Jai Jawan and Jai Kisan? So the Indian majority sector, first they give more priority to Department of Jawan. If the Jawan is not strong, the cross-border terrorism is high. So if the Jawans do their duty strictly at the time, the cross-border terrorism is not strong. So now present, the India is suffered this cross-border terrorism, not only our India. So recently the Pakistan and the China, these two are big enemies of ours. So this is the cross-border terrorism and environmental and sandalwood terrorism. So once upon a time Veerappan, you know about the name of the sandalwood terrorist. So now present not Veerappan in the side of our India. So sandalwood is one of the big property of concerned state. So the terrorists, so what the way of that? The theft the sandals and purchase. So now present the sandalwood terrorism, it is in Tamil Nadu and Andhra Pradesh, the area of Tirupati. So it is the one of the danger terrorism now present. The big terrorism not in the big sandalwood terrorist is not inside. He is Mr. Veerappan once upon a time. He is the sandalwood terrorist. And then the cyber terrorism. So you know about the cyber terrorism. So the police department alert to all people, please always alert the cyber terrorist is in the side of yours. Always you are alert about the crime of cyber. And then the suicide terrorism. So now present suicide. So it is the one of the crime. So according to Thomas Aquinas, the suicide, it is the one of the crime. That is the punishment of God. Who is the creator of you? The God is creator of you. So that is the punishment of you. అంటే మనం దేవుడు సృష్టిస్తాడు, మనందరం మనం సుసైడ్ చేసుకుంటే అది దేవుడిని కూడా శిక్షించిన వాళ్ళం అవుతాము అంటాడు థామస్ ఆక్వినాస్. ఈజ్ గ్రేట్ పొలిటికల్ థింకర్. సో దీస్ ఆర్ ఆల్ ది types and kinds of terrorism. So it is a very important annual examination 5 marks question. So types of terrorism: ethno-nationalist terrorism, religious terrorism, left-wing terrorism, cross-border terrorism, environmental or sandalwood terrorism, cyber terrorism, suicide terrorism. So this is the types. These are all the types of terrorism. Please all second year students purchase materials in your nearest bookstalls. If you have no material for your side, no use. First you purchase material and read seriously these questions. Okay, I explain further classes. This question is important to you. Okay, so yes, completion of this.